Welcome back to Soul Shift. I'm Dani. I'm here with Christopher. He's back again. It's been a while. You have not seen us since April 23rd, and I am so sorry. Chris had to do a lot of work, and from what I've heard, everyone really enjoys us doing this together. So, me doing the podcast alone didn't seem like an option. Anything you want to say to the people?
Yeah, it was a lot of Saturdays. I was on call and it's just been really busy.
Yeah, he even had to go into the building on Memorial Day.
It called me in the middle of the cookout, y'all.
He did get to eat beforehand, though.
Yeah.
He got to eat. However, you guys have let me know that you really like when we're here together rather than when I'm just by myself. I'm a little offended, but it's okay. So I couldn't record without him because this is what y'all want. You want us together.
We're better together.
I've heard that a few times, but that's a story for another day. Today we're talking about starting over in all kinds of ways. Friendships, work. What else did you say? You had a good thing earlier. You were saying we could start over from.
I was saying your identity. I had thought of a couple times that I had to start over when we were kind of thinking about what to do for this. And what I landed on was how I evolved as a person from being a boy and kind of turning into a man, and how the different times I had to start over ended up kind of snowballing into that.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the first true memory I have of starting over is work related for me. Most people know that I was a teacher, a special education teacher for 10 years. And I loved it. I loved the children. I loved making lesson plans for them. The favorite part of my job, honestly, was when I know a lot of teachers, oh, kids come in, you say, what's your favorite subject? What's your least favorite subject? That was my favorite part because my goal was to make their least favorite subject their favorite by the end of the school year. Every year, I wanted them to love whatever it was, and I loved that. But everything that came with the job was draining, and I got to a point where I wasn't teaching anymore, and I dreaded work every day. I would be at work and be miserable, and it was not good. It was not a good thing, and I feel like it started taking away from home life, like my husband and my kid, because Nova was a baby. She was what, like she only turned 1 when I was teaching, right?
Yeah, you didn't go back, I guess. Yeah, right when she was about to turn 1.
Yeah, 2021 I left. So she was little and I was drained and I kept trying to push through, and then I realized this just isn't working anymore. And Christopher actually was a huge part of me deciding to finally leave. You remember that?
Yes.
I forget what you said though.
I told you that you did not let these people be disrespecting you like this, and I had some other colorful language, but just it got to a point where they weren't respecting your time, like weren't giving you what, like even with the basic agreement of what a job is. So it was time to move on.
Yeah, when I had maternity leave, I didn't get paid for part of my leave, at least not on time. And when I went to the board about it, their response was, this is my husband's favorite thing that they've ever told me. Remember what they told me?
They said, "You got a husband, don't you?"
Yeah. They told me, oh, well, it says, Mrs., you changed your name from when you first started. You have a husband, don't you? Like, he can help support you while you wait for this to be corrected. And I feel like then I should have taken that further. I don't think that was legal at all. But yeah, that was what was going on. So then I had to make a shift.
It's definitely illegal as it gets.
Yeah, and that wasn't the only time that I didn't get my check on time. But anyway, that was my first bout of starting over. And in that process, it was very difficult. It was not an easy just start over because that's all I knew. That's all I felt like I could do. And then I decided to really lock into sports and sports marketing and all those things, and turned out a lot better for me. Do you have any work start overs?
Sort of. My a lot of my times of starting over were not from my own ignition. Like it was usually I was forced to start over. I've been laid off, and that really kind of sent me into a weird path. Um, and I didn't really even get out of it until again I was forced out because um, I met you, and I was like, I need to stop feeling sorry for myself, and it was time to start over then, and I had to really kind of put my best foot forward, and it did definitely work out.
I do feel like your first start over was when we met because you really did get focused on what you wanted to do, your career. You're still in that career.
Yeah.
Christopher started his job when we met and he was an apprentice. And now
Mhm.
he's
Well, my first start over was leaving Ohio. That was my first start over, and
that's a big one.
that
That
was
one
the
needs
big
to be
one.
noted.
Um, I if you don't know my story, I had a very big Fresh Prince moment of there was a altercation and my mom got scared and she sent me to live here with my grandparents, and that's where I was when I met Danielle. So
That's a really accurate well, I never thought of it as
yeah,
a
no,
Fresh
that was
Prince.
definitely a Fresh Prince story for sure.
Yeah, he had to get out of Ohio. It was not good for him.
um,
From what I've noticed, it's just overall that seems to be the theme. When I meet people who really were there, they all end up leaving. They all leave. It's just I don't know. I'm not from Ohio. From what my husband's told me, we will never live in Ohio, even though cost of living is much better than here. Can't go back.
I really, really had a very big place in my heart for Ohio, and I loved it when I was there. But there was not really opportunities for me to grow, and my habits and things that I had created in the life that I was living there was not sustainable for what we are trying to do. Like I would not have grown into the man that I am now there. And I didn't know that then. I kind of just got into this place where I wasn't achieving the things that I wanted to. Um, I had kind of a vision for myself, and I was raised to be a certain way. And then after high school, it just didn't really work out that way. And I didn't really have a plan or an aim. And I was in a rut, and there was a couple of other things that happened, and then I got into that fight, and after all that got settled, I just was like, okay, it's time to do something different. And so I moved up here to be with my grandparents, and I still really wanted to be there. Like that's what I'm saying, like that's kind of what I was like. I wanted to be with all my friends, I wanted to hang out with all them, and I still was that person, but it eventually meeting you and everything else kind of snowballed itself into me being able to reinvent myself and get to the end goal.
How old were you when you officially left Ohio?
21.
Okay, so you had been here for a while when you met me.
Yeah, it was like 3 years.
Okay, it's not that long.
Yeah.
Your start over, I don't have any start over that's that big. Like I've never had to leave my hometown, go be with like leave my family to go. I mean, you still have family here, but your parents, your friends where you grew up, I never had to do that. That would be really hard for me. That would be really difficult. But you seem to have adjusted well.
Well, it's interesting because it's like I have two different lives. Like when I think about that, it's almost like everything was just the before times. Like it's kind of surreal to look back on it now because I can see the clear line where everything kind of changed. Um, when I was looking at this, the making the decision to come here from Ohio was the turning point, really. But I was still very much the same person. I could see myself still having the same habits leading up to when I met you, and that was more of a catalyst for me. Like I made the change leaving Ohio, but I still was the same person. And then I had to, I don't know if it was subconsciously or just, it's probably part of God's plan, meeting you and wanting to not lose this treasure that I found. I was like, you need to step up and do these things and start trying to strive for better. And so it's like weird because I wasn't really doing it for myself. I was really kind of doing it, for lack of better terms, just to try to impress you.
Oh
And
my goodness.
like that worked out. And then it was like, oh snap! But in doing it, I figured out that's kind of what I wanted, and something that it is striving to be the best version of myself, which was ended up being rewarding.
I feel like that's a lot of our story.
Yeah.
The Chris I met was kind of like, what's the right answer? I'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
This man had me convinced that he was like this super athlete who loved sushi and everything else that I liked. And then we went out and it was like, oh, he actually doesn't like any of these things. He just wants to date me.
Am a super athlete. I love sushi. So all those things that I said are true.
He loves sushi now. When we met and went to sushi, this guy ordered a California roll, and that was all he knew to order because he didn't like sushi. He was trying to date me. But here I am, so it worked out. I feel like with your situation with starting over from, cause that is a big one that I forget all of the time that is where you started. You are not from Maryland. You were in Ohio for most of your like growing years. And was it hard to leave your friends? Or did you not even tell them you were leaving? Did you just disappear?
I mean, it was hard because me and my friends were really close. When I got here and before we really started our relationship, I spent a lot of time drunk dialing them because I was like, chilling by myself or whatever. Just be like, oh, hey, blah, blah. And like even the habits, that's what I meant by like even the habits that I had there followed me here in a big way. And it took a long time for me to grow out of it. And then some of the habits that I had kind of metastasized into, new habits that I had to break in other ways. Just like using, like partying all the time and wanting to be in this space of being, under the influence when I got home after work and stuff like that is, I think, echoes of that time in my life. And I had to kind of grow out of that as well. Especially as a way for me to deal with stress. It was like, oh, well, I just want to party and just not care. That's some things that I had to reinvent on myself and kind of work on.
Yeah. I feel like my start over from teaching to what we're doing now it's still a big transition, but yours is massive, like leaving a whole state and everything. And I feel like I grieve teaching sometimes still right now. Like when it's time to go back to school and I see all the teachers getting their classrooms ready, I always think of classroom ideas, always. And I'm not teaching. I haven't taught in 4 years. But I do grieve it and I miss it. But it's really interesting how you can miss something so much and then still know I can't do that again. I cannot go back to that. It had to end, but it is really hard. I miss how familiar it is and was to me. And I miss the people. I miss the kids. I miss those relationships I used to build. I feel like it's almost like a disservice to the children because I really make good connections with my kids. And it's hard. It's really hard. But
it is really weird when I like think of it, because I know that you needed to move on from that. But if y'all have ever seen Danielle around children, she is like a Disney princess. They just like come up and they're like, ah! Like it's just so interesting. It's like they know.
It is just like they know. So, I'm a children magnet. They just find me and they just latch on. They're like, what are you going to teach me? What am I going to learn? Yeah, so, how are you going to make my day better? It's like they just know. And they're right. It's not wrong. I do think part of me was made to be a teacher and to have those connections. But yeah, it's hard. It's still hard. It's really hard for me now. I had an email, what was it, a month ago maybe? Because my teacher's license was about to expire. And I went back and forth about even renewing it. And pretty much everyone said, just renew it, keep it. But it made me so sad when I got that email. It was sad for me. I was really feeling a lot of things when I saw that email because I feel like I'm still a teacher. I do, but I know that it's just not what's best for me or our family.
Mm,
That's really difficult. It's been really hard,
yeah.
especially when I see some of these teachers on social media. Some of y'all suck. I don't know how a better way to put it. Some of you are not great teachers, and you're not doing what's best for these kids, and I don't like it. But you feel like your work situation was it didn't work really wasn't a big start over for you. It was kind of seamless because you were at a college and then you went to government building. It's kind of the same job, right?
Started at the college, and that wasn't really my career at that point, and I didn't. Looking back on it, I didn't even really understand what we were doing there. I was just kind of, hanging out, and uh, we were really just helpers. The start over came from, because we got laid off from that job, and then I went to the storage facility after that, and that was actually when the start over happened because I hated that job so much. It was just the worst thing ever. It's a racket. They were watching us on camera all the time from like the office. They got somebody sitting watching these people on camera, be like, hey, you need to be not on your phones and doing all this other stuff. The way that we would like get people in these agreements, and you can see them in these dire situations, unable to afford the lease agreements, and they're trying to get into these like discounted units that end up costing way more than they can afford 2 months down the road. And then you're talking to them while their stuff's getting auctioned.
Yeah,
And
you only did the job for like 2 months when we met.
It was 6 months. And
When we met?
Huh?
When we met, it was 6 months?
I got the job in June.
And we started dating in
dating in May. I got the job in June, and by November I was like, I got to get out of here.
Christopher is, I don't, if you know him, he's very big on justice and everything being fair, equal. He treats people well, even when they don't deserve his best. He gives them his best. And something I never knew about the storage facility business is how corrupt it really is. When my uncle died, he had a facility, he had a storage unit that we didn't know. Obviously, he didn't just text us like, hey guys, just bring this unit. We had no idea. But we ended up finding out somehow. And to get his things out, they did charge us a ton of money to do anything because he had passed away and he didn't pay his bill because he was no longer here. When I tell you they didn't care, like they were like, yeah, he died, but that's not our problem.
Their business model is set up to get your money and then auction your stuff off when you can't pay. That's how they're making money. It's terrible.
It's disgusting.
And so like I got to a point where I forget what it was they did to me one day, but I remember walking through that storage facility doing my tour and the lock checks or whatever, and was just like, I cannot be here anymore. And I called my supervisor now and was like, hey man, because he had worked with me at the college, and I was just like, hey man, I got to get out of here. And he got me an interview. It's interesting because I've interviewed for that job before when I was trying to get the storage facility job, and I didn't get it that time. So I went to a second interview on my birthday and ended up getting it. And that was the real start over, because I was like, I can't do this storage facility thing more. And that was a good blessing that came through, because that it has been there for us for the last 10 years.
The rest is history. And one day I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, all because of this shift. But yeah, that the shifting is hard, but it in both of our situations have been worth it. I have had more experience with having to start over in friendships, let friendships go. People just knowing that you're not good for me. You're not good for our mental health. I had family and friends who just every conversation was so heavy. It was always so negative. Everything's wrong. You'll never guess what happened today. This stinks. And it's like, I was having a good day. And every time I talk to you, something's terribly wrong. And it's not that I don't want to be a supportive friend, but nothing's good. Everything sucks all the time. That seems like a you issue. And I had to start cutting those people out of my life. People like that who never have anything positive, it's like a cancer. It just latches onto you eventually. And I had to start letting those people go. And I feel like I really started doing that after my uncle passed away. Is that what you think? That's when I really started? Or was I doing it before that?
You never really suffered fools. Not in the way that I do. I will put up with so much more than Danielle will in that aspect, but you definitely got a lot less patience for it entirely after your uncle's passing. I really struggle with this because I really try to empathize with everybody and try to put myself in their shoes and see where they're coming from, and I will give you a lot of rope for that. And the closer you are to me, the more rope you're gonna get. So I really just struggle with that, especially people in my family. Like, I'm just trying to figure out how to help and try to make it better. And being with Danielle's really given me agency to advocate for myself because of the way I was raised. It wasn't really something that was taught in my family. Like, it was always, you do that no matter what because those people are your family. And I still try to have that loyalty, but there needs to be space for that because you can't have things that are negatively affecting you that way in your head all the time. Something that I didn't even write this down, but it's coming back to me now. When I was in children's church when I was little, we had this really cool children's church, and they would do these like really interactive things. And I remember the pastor brought out this head, and he was talking about how the things around you are being introduced into your spirit, and that stays with you. So like, you can't fill your spirit, and these things, like everything that you are getting around you is going into you, and that stays with you regardless of like if you're aware of it or not. So you need to be aware of it and protect yourself and guard yourself. And that counts with people that you keep going back to. That can be poisonous to you, and it can be poisonous to your spirit. Like, it's just like, if you're not guarding yourself against it, and even if you are, it can still be draining. That's why I don't really, like, I used to be so into true crime and all this other stuff, and I had to just kind of let it go because it's like, you're just absorbing this constantly, and it's just not good for your spirit.
Yeah, you have to know your personality as well. I'm really good at detaching from everything, anything that I need to. So I love true crime. Christopher and I have TikToks about it. We used to watch true crime documentaries and listen to podcasts about it all the time together. And then one day he was just like, yeah, I don't want to watch this. And I had to start watching by myself, and I was kind of sad about it. But I understand that he really does carry that stuff with him. It brings down his day, his mood. He thinks about it for longer. Me, I'm like, man, this is crazy. When the show's over, it's over, and I can go on about my day. But yeah, he definitely had to make that shift within himself because
yeah, I guess that's another time I started over.
I know, because I'm all by my lone, as Nove says, watching. I'm saving all these documentaries and things. I'm like, dang, where's my true crime buddy? Just left me. I'm over by myself. But yeah, I think you are correct on the point of we're both incredibly loyal, but my loyalty needs to be reciprocated. Like, I need to know that the way that I'm here for you and will drop anything for you and be there, it can be the same. It's going to be the same when it's to me. And Christopher doesn't need that. He doesn't need that. He just, I don't know how to describe my husband, but I'm glad he's mine because he gonna come through every time when those posts are like, I don't need a man, I need mine because that's this man over here. He's gonna come through for sure, even for those he shouldn't, but we're working on it. What do you call me? You call me I'm your inner, what am I?
Which one are you talking about?
You call me something when you need to use my energy. I forget what you say. So Christopher has situations where he needs to channel my energy.
Yeah, I will say, I will. You're kind of my anger translator. So like, if there's times where I would just like let it go. We were just talking about this in the car yesterday. I don't use my horn like at all. my
His
cars.
physical car horn. He doesn't use it.
I said I was hit it like twice. Somebody was taking a long time. My wife was like, "Hit your horn." I'm like, "Oh no, I'm not. There's just no reason to be doing all that. I'm not gonna hit the horn. I'll just let it go."
I don't know my horn. I don't know how it still works because that thing gets its use. Driving to
You
Baltimore,
have to almost kill me to it cut me off for me to hit the horn out of anger. Because otherwise, I'm just not going to use it. And I'm kind of that way with everything else. I'm like, man, I'll just let it go. Like, it's not that big a deal until I get upset and then I'm crashing out. But the when I need to, without losing my temper, and I'm because Danielle does such a good job of doing it in a calm way and just like advocating herself. So like usually at work, I would just channel her and be like, "Oh, you're not even talking to me right now. You're talking to my wife." I know it. I know it pisses people off, but it's just like,
yeah, I think that's one of my superpowers. Is I well, my husband and one of my bosses say that it's chilling, as they like to say, because I don't yell. I don't use energy for yelling. My student said the same, is to say doesn't yell. Not at all. I'm going to talk just like this and tell you exactly what you're doing wrong to make sure you know, and why I think it's wrong, why I don't like it, and why we will never have this conversation or any conversation ever again. And my husband has two ways of handling it: ignoring it and just letting himself deal with it internally and be sad, or he's going to crash out. That is it. Like, those are the only options.
yeah.
You did shift from there too, though, because my husband would have knocked somebody out in a second.
Oh yeah, I don't. There's only like two things that are making me crash out anymore, and it's messing with Nova or Danielle. The rest of it's kind of like,
Yeah, before it was like, beware, because this man will.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's part of the growth of me. I think becoming more mature. I could definitely feel the difference of because I still am. I feel things so deeply and I empathize.
Yeah.
Really, like much. So I just feel everything so hard, and that happens when I'm like upset. So it's like people be like, like I get called emotional or whatever. It's just that I care, and I just had to get to a place where I wasn't allowing it to reach me on that level, unless it really really matters. So it's just I really struggle with big deal, little deal. Everything was a big deal.
That reminds me, because Nova is her daddy when it comes to empathy and feelings, because I've been trying to get Nova to understand big deal, little deal for years, especially when she started school. Everything's a big deal. There is no little deal. And we went to see Lilo and Stitch. Was it last weekend?
Yeah.
Just last weekend. If you haven't seen it,
I mean,
spoiler. Well, I'm not going to drop any spoilers, but it's an emotional movie. It's emotional.
it got tense at the end there.
It's a kids movie. It's not that tense, I promise. It's emotional. However, we were there with some of Nova's dance friends, and I was next to one of the little girl's dad, and he's tapping me. He's like, "Nova's crying. She needs you." And I look at Nova, and she's not just crying. She is sobbing. She is absolutely sobbing because Stitch is going through some things. Lilo and Stitch are about to be separated. Stitch, was almost no longer with us. And my child couldn't take it. She felt everything. It just made her she was sobbing. I was like, "Do you want to go in the hallway?" She couldn't. Her dad was over there. He had like his hood up. I was like, "Are you crying too?" Like, Nova and Christopher feel all the things.
I was a little stressed.
It was a Disney movie,
I knew it
y'all.
was happening. It still was sad.
It was a Disney movie. I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, he made a shift. He's a little like Teddy now. My teddy bear. He can still flip a switch, but most time he's not. He's gonna empathize. What other ways do we shift? I don't know. I feel like those are my main ones. I shift with, inside of yourself too, just personality. How have my personality shifted? I think I was Danielle before being a mom and Danielle after being a mom.
Yeah, I was about to say a big part of a lot of my evolution, because I can say I definitely hit a switch when I met you comparatively to what I was before that, but it was equally like exponentially greater when Nova got here, because I still was an idiot after we met. Like, that was very clear, and I'm pretty stupid now too, but not.
You're not stupid.
Oh no, I'm dumb. But
what are you talking about? You're one of the smartest people that I know, honestly.
I do okay, but I'm constantly growing, and I think I got a lot better after Nova got here. Um, and maybe it's the responsibility of it, being aware and being honest with yourself. Because I think a lot of the times when I was going through those shifts and those changes, what got me through it was praying about it and just being really honest with myself about where I'm at and how best to address and evolve that situation. So like even like the things that I'm like facing now, what I've been really trying to focus on is who I want to be on the other side of this, and then trying to be that. And I think that's going to be huge.
Something that John, who's one of my bosses, always says is, well, he doesn't always say it, but something he does use for the guys is, you're not starting from scratch. He always says that it's not starting from scratch. You were just building on your experience. It's not starting over. You're just building from your experience. You're just editing the recipe. He always says that, and I feel like that's kind of what this whole thing is. Like, I don't feel like I started all the way over. I just made some edits. Same for you. You're still like the same person from the other situations. You just made a few edits.
The one that I loved that Bill, my boss, when I started engineering, he used to always say when I would go to his office for our evaluations was it's like a headdress for like Native Americans. He's like, every battle, all of that is just another feather in your cap, and you start off with just the headband, and then you get, this is another feather, and this is another feather, and eventually you're going to have this headdress. You're going to be a powerful warrior. And that was our mascot in high school, so that really stuck with me, and I think about it a lot.
A Wayne Warrior. That's a big. Well, we have episode coming up. We'll talk more about our high school friends. I think my husband will have a lot to add to that, because sometimes distance changes things. But any other shifts you want to talk about?
Um, how did you shift? Did you shift at all when we met, or has there been any things that you've had to shift from marriage? Because I don't think you really talked about that.
When we first met, the shift was my I don't know how I would describe it, but the need to control everything and want thing, because I was a teacher. I'm an only child, so there wasn't much that wasn't going the way I wanted it to go, because it's only me. And when I met Christopher, as he said, he was fresh from Ohio, and he was still a little bit of Ohio Chris. And the things that I always saw this version of Chris in Chris, even though he refused to see it in himself. And that was frustrating to me. I thought that Christopher and I would break up, 4 or 5 times, multiple times, because he just couldn't be the person that I knew he could be. I could see these glimmers of this amazing of this Chris. I could see it, and he refused to. And me, before shifting, would just be like, all right, bye. I don't have time to work. Like I said, I don't have time to work with it. I'm not going to be patient. I don't have empathy for it. But for some reason, the Lord said, hey, girl, I'm working on him. And what you are seeing, he's going to see it soon. It wasn't that soon. But
we got there.
We made it. We made it there. And that was a shift. That taught me a lot, though, because looking forward now with our daughter, she teaches me lots of patience, too, because she is her daddy. She is him. And I learned it with him early on, and I'm using it now. That shift was needed. And I feel like I'm still shifting now that we are married, because it is hard for me to accept the things that Christopher accepts for himself. That is the hardest part of our relationship. There are people and there are things that I want to fix it. And because of my husband's personality, I can't fix it, because my fix is to cut them off. Cut off the problem, get rid of it. And my husband is never going to do that. He's caring. Like he said, that rope can go around the world twice. It's just who he is. And I've had to learn. I think I'm becoming more empathetic because of you. Do you feel that way? Your face is saying you don't feel that way.
Um,
You don't think I'm becoming more empathetic?
oh,
I've shifted towards empathy. No? No?
no.
A little bit? A tiny bit?
So I'll give you a little bit.
What? What do you mean? I need you to elaborate.
Okay, I'll give you a little bit because with counsel from someone that has a little bit more empathy, you will give another chance. If you were left to your own devices and I wasn't like being like, all right, give them another chance, they would not get another chance. Like that, it still wouldn't happen. But like if someone brings it before the court and is like, oh hey, you may give them one more. But other than that, no.
I will also say, you and my mom actually are always fighting for me to give more chances. However, I think that I'm more so in the space of not being able to forgive when it comes to you and Nova or like our family. That's when I really, because almost like when I was teaching, I'm standing up for people who I feel are not standing up for themselves. Don't mess with my students. That makes me angry. Don't mess with my kid because that will turn very violent. My husband, he's missing that they're not treating him right. So now I have to fix it. And that doesn't always come out so nice. But I'm shifting. I don't say it to the person right away. I say it to you first.
You don't really.
What? I use my powers for good.
I'm not saying you don't. That's not what I said. I was just saying that like you still really don't give second chances. Like
I do. When was the last time I gave her a second chance?
I'm
trying to think when I just gave her a second chance. I don't remember. It was recently. It had to be recently. I don't remember. But I have shifted towards empathy.
It's not unwarranted. You're not out here being mean. Usually, if somebody's not getting another chance, they did it to themselves. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying.
I will say that. I am not out here just cutting people off for fun. You have opened opened my pencil box to pull out the scissors.
Right.
For sure.
But what I'm saying is that like they're not probably getting another chance unless I request it or your mom
they say the boy is the nice one. That's what they've been saying.
The boy is the nice one.
Yeah, we had a really racist neighbor for years and years, and he called Chris. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
He's not. You can't say he's racist.
This neighbor called my husband the boy. The boy.
He was an older model.
He was a racist. And my husband accepted that for like 2 years.
He was born.
Probably more than that.
He was from a different time.
I don't give a damn when he was born. He was racist. He was racist then, racist now. And wherever the Lord has shifted him to in his afterlife is not up to me. But once again, had to stand for my husband. Because why are you calling him boy? His name is Christopher.
He did not call me boy. He didn't say boy.
He was calling other people boy, and he definitely was talking. I heard him tell his girlfriend that the boy was the nice one.
He might have been that boy because he was like 88.
No, it's because he was racist. That's why he said boy. And you are correct. I was not nice to him at all. I had to lay him out when I was like 8 months pregnant.
Oh, man.
But that's a story for another day, too. Maybe I haven't shifted as much as I thought. But I think in marriage, we both have shifted. More so recently, too. I feel like we're doing marriage now like together more, where it's I know what works for Chris knows what works for me, and we're kind of blending them together more rather than just doing what we want to do and talking to each other how we want. I talk to Chris in the way that I feel makes sense to me, and that doesn't work for Chris. Like it doesn't work. It usually doesn't. And I had to learn that. I had to learn the way to communicate. Yeah, I feel like I've shifted in marriage too.
Yeah, I agree. I think we both have.
Yeah. See, I shift for the better.
Yeah. Um,
My husband is talking about me
that's
bad.
not what's happening.
Oh my gosh.
That's not what's happening. The communication in general, I think we had a shift where, and I'm not really sure what the catalyst was for that now, because it's been probably about a year or two, about a year and a half.
Really?
I think that's where I kind of started.
I think quality time shifted for us to make things better. We missed each other a lot. We were just in the house together.
Yeah.
That was it. We just lived here. Like we weren't spending time
Yeah.
together the
And I
right
think
way.
really there was there was a catalyst too, and I do remember what it was, but it wasn't, it started with myself. It wasn't even really anything that happened between us. Uh, Part of it was I'm not gonna lie, I was doing the challenges with John and being challenged to be a better version of myself and be like a better man. And while I was again kind of praying on it and being honest with myself, I realized, and that's kind of, this is what I mean when I say I was dumb. Like I was just taking it for granted, like our relationship for granted, and being here and being married for granted. And I had an epiphany while I was analyzing myself that I needed to treat you better, that I was taking you for granted, that I need to truly communicate with you, not talk at you and expect you to just understand and get it because you love me. And when I started talking to you to understand and actually make sure that we're communicating and not just trying to make sure that I'm heard, um, we really kind of turned a corner there. And um, I think that's really kind of brought us a long way.
Yeah, I feel like we communicate a lot more effectively. And having Nova also was a shift because Nova takes most of my attention and time, and I have had to learn how to be a mom and a wife, and also Danielle too, which is, I'm still shifting there because mom, I, the pieces of me, mom is the biggest, and I don't know what to do about that. I don't know how to fix it. I really don't. I don't know that it's broken, but it needs to be adjusted because
You could use some calibration.
yeah, I just mom hard. Real hard. And she knows it. She says, "Mommy, Mommy, you just work for me." And she's not wrong. I do.
She's the boss.
She is the boss. Woo, our girl turned 6 years old yesterday. Happy birthday, Nova Sade. And she's shifting too. She is shifting. She's growing. Her attitude is shifting. I don't know that it's a positive or negative way yet,
I
but
think
she's
her
shifting.
personality is forming.
It's forming, and I feel like it's a lot of mommy and a lot of daddy. And I don't know if the world's ready, but hang on, y'all. She's got mommy's spice, but she's also got daddy's empathy.
Yeah, she's gonna need that.
Which part?
Both of them.
The spice is hot.
She needs it to balance the other part out.
This is true. Krista is the balance for that for me because flamethrower be going. But I think that's about it. I hope that anyone who is in a space where they are looking to shift, whether it's friendship, work, within themselves, there's people that they notice aren't good for them, that you know that is okay. Starting fresh is needed sometimes. And if your inner thoughts and your inner voice is telling you this, it's time to make a soul shift. Look at that. That worked out. That worked out well. Well, as always, we're here. We will not be gone this long anymore. We'll be back. Right?
Yes.
Y'all still want Chris to come?
My fans need me.
All right, y'all. I hope you have a wonderful day. We will see you next week. I promise. Next week. Even if it's just me. I know y'all don't want to hear that. But we'll be here. Anything else, husband?
No, I think just, every day is a opportunity to start over. Everybody is stronger than they think they are. And You don't need to, if you need to do something or start over or create space for healing, then that's what you need to heal. You're not broken. You're just trying to rebuild yourself. And every battle is another feather in your cap.
That was deep. Good job, husband. Let us know. We are on Instagram at Soul Shift Podcast. I'm on Instagram at the Danny Sade. Christopher is Mr. Sade too. Don't message him. He won't see it. He's not going to answer. Just message me or the or the podcast. And let us know if you want another topic, anything you want to see us do. Send it our way, and we will see you soon. Bye.